Eimantas Stanionis versus Gabriel Maestro. 12 rounds for Stanionis' WBA regular welterweight title. This is on the undercard of Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Munguia. Let's get into it. Let's start with Stanionis. 14 wins, no losses, 1 no contest, and 9 wins by way of knockout. Man, it's been a while since we've seen Stanionis back inside of the ring. It's been, what, 2 years? If I remember correctly, he was supposed to fight Virgil Ortiz twice last year, but it didn't go that way. It fell through. Virgil Ortiz was having some health issues, so that fight was postponed twice. I've seen some interviews of Stanionis, man, and he's talking about his frustration and some of the challenges about all that, and he's looking to get back into the ring, man, just to get back into the fight game and to get back into furthering his career. So I'm expecting him coming in because of the long layoff, man. I'm expecting him to be a little bit rusty and struggle with his timing and rhythm a little bit, especially in the early part of the fight. It's not easy to come back and to find your groove early. Like, it'll take a few rounds or maybe even sometimes a full fight to really get back into the swing of things. But then again, he might come in and look like his old self. That we'll know on the night. Now, I think it's important to know, man, that these two have fought each other before in the amateurs, and Maestro did give Stanionis a tough fight during their fight. So they are familiar with each other, even though it's been quite some time since that time. They know each other still, right? And the last time that we saw Stanionis in the ring was when he fought Radzab Butayev, right? Who was also an undefeated fighter at the time. And I believe they fought in the amateurs twice as well, too. If I remember correctly, Butayev beat Stanionis 2-0 in the amateurs when they fought as well, too. But again, that was the amateurs. This is the professional side of things. Now, Stanionis, when he was in the ring with Butayev, man, he stood right in the fire all night and took the fight to Butayev, landing big shots, uppercuts, stiff jabs to the head and to the body. He had a very nice and tight high guard. Butayev did the same thing. Like, he stood right there too, and he was throwing and landing shots of his own, nice body shots, countering well, and both men at times caught each other simultaneously with shots that hit each other. You got the sense that this was going to come down to who had the better chin and whose work rate was going to be consistent throughout the fight. There were some close rounds in this fight. Butayev found great openings to the body and came around the high guard of Stanionis. Stanionis, I felt, find a nice rhythm in the 7th and 8th and the 9th rounds, but man, he was getting hit, man. But he put together a great combinations throughout that fight and stayed busy and kept Butayev at a slight distance. But again, it was a hard, tough fought and close fight to score. Butayev got a point taken away in the 11th round, and I think that played a big difference in the fight and to him not winning that fight. And obviously, who knows, if he didn't get that point taken away, who would have known how that fight would have completely played out? But it was a close fight, and I'd love to see a rematch of that fight. It was an all-out war for both men, man. Both men were marked up. And when you think about a war like he had, maybe the break will help him in this fight, right? Sometimes when you are banged up like that, man, his eyes had some swollenness underneath the eye. While he might be rusty, maybe this rest gave him the opportunity to recover fully, and we'll see what he looks like on the night. But one thing about Stanionis, man, is he's tough, durable, and the man can punch, right? Like, he'll be looking to get things back on track, and definitely probably getting really excited to get back into the ring. Now, let's talk about his opponent, Gabriel Maestro. 6 wins, 1 draw, 5 wins by way of knockout. The Venezuelan, 2-time Olympian, hasn't been fighting on the professional side of things for too long. He turned pro in 2019. Usually when you start professional, you maybe start 4-round fights, 6-round fights, but nah, he jumped out of the gate, 10-round fights, and 12-round fight last year when he fought Mikhail Fox. So, which makes sense because he's 37 years old now when Stanionis is 29 years old. So I wonder how that will play out. Could mean something, could mean nothing. We'll see how it goes on the night. But when he fought Mikhail Fox, I thought, man, he was in trouble in that fight. Fox dropped him early in the fight, timed him with a beautifully slick uppercut and counters. Fox did a great job of moving his body and making Maestro miss and making him pay. He did a great job of his physical advantages and making that part of his strength, you know, using his reach and his size. He's a tall guy and he's very rangy. And I thought he did a great job of using the things that makes him a good fighter to his advantage. Maestro was aggressive, yes. Was he pushing the pace? Yes, but he wasn't hitting Fox cleanly, consistently, right? And he was getting countered when he missed. And Fox landed more punches and hurt Maestro a few times in that fight. Fox got the worst of that decision on the night, in my opinion, man. Giving Maestro a unanimous decision victory is that's just wild, bro. Like, that's just wild. Because that was not the fight that we watched, at least from my eyes and my perspective. Maestro didn't even cut off the ring well enough as well, too. So, but of course, you know, in boxing, you just never know until you see how the fight comes out, man. After that, he fought a split decision draw against Taras Shalesyuk, who was also an undefeated fighter coming in. I believe he's actually still undefeated, but he looked very similar to Fox in that fight too. You know, he's tall, he's rangy, using that jab and really making himself hard to hit. And that fight was a draw. Stanionis is going to be there to get hit, man. He's not going to be doing a whole lot of movement. Maestro also fought Devon Alexander, a veteran in the sport, the former lightweight, welterweight champion, and welterweight champion, coming off of a split decision draw. And he looked better than he did coming off of that draw, man. He was going to the body of Alexander and targeting his shots there, dropped Alexander in the second round. Alexander didn't come out of the corner in the third round, which was interesting to me because he didn't really look hurt like that. To me personally, I didn't really see any cuts on the face. I didn't really see anything that was telling that he was hurt per se. But again, he fought Devon Alexander coming off of a long 2-year layoff, and he had already, coming into that fight, had lost 3 straight. So the momentum was downwards for him. So he didn't look like he had a lot to work with coming into that fight, with a lot of momentum for Alexander, and it didn't work out in his favor, man. Maestro, in his most recent fight, he fought Trayvon Marshall, an undefeated fighter. He was younger, and he shouldn't have been fighting an experienced, older guy who could punch like Maestro just yet. And Maestro used his experience and his power, and he was able to really, really impose his size and his pressure and power on Marshall. Maestro did a great job of walking him into the right shots that he wanted to get off, using feints to bait Marshall, and just waiting for the right time and the right spot for him to really let his hands go. He already closed the gap early in the first round and already had Marshall fighting off of the back foot. Maestro was setting up that overhand right in the first round. In the second round, Maestro executed the jab with the left, make him move to the right. Jab with the left, make him move to the right. And once he had him cornered on the ropes, man, he put that jab again, but he feinted and came over the top with the right hand, landed cleanly on Marshall's chin, and the man was laying on the ropes, right? He would get up, but the fight didn't last much longer. But shout out to Marshall, man. He decided to fight back and get up and to try to win the fight, but it wasn't his night, man. I think he took that fight a little too prematurely, especially a guy that can punch in the size of Maestro. The inexperience of the younger fighter, Marshall needed to tie up and reset himself, and he just tried to slug it out and bang it out with the bigger puncher, and it didn't work out in his favor. And Maestro won that fight and Marshall lost. So, man, this is going to be an interesting fight, man. These two have a history. They know each other. There's a lot at stake here for both men, man. So who wins? Obviously, I think one of the biggest things here is holding on to the fact that Stanionis has not fight a fight in 2 years, right? To me, it doesn't matter who you are, how good you are, man. It hurts a fighter and leaves them a little bit vulnerable in the ring. But Stanionis is a come forward type of guy, and he'll punch himself into a rhythm. He's going to bring the pressure and be there right in your face. Maestro has been the more active fighter in the recent years, even though he's the older fighter. Again, he's 36, 37 now, and he's been looking good in his previous fights as well too. In the amateurs, Stanionis beat him. And once you beat someone on any level, man, psychologically, you're like, yo, I beat him once before. I can definitely beat him again. So Stanionis has that psychological edge. Mikhail Fox was able to drop Maestro with a counter shot. I think Stanionis is a bigger puncher than Mikhail Fox, and he's got a strong chin as well too. Fox hurt Maestro a couple times in that fight. Maestro didn't seem like he respected Mikhail Fox, and he got caught. I do believe he will respect Stanionis because they got history, and you got to respect the man's power. But we'll see how much respect that he does give him. He might think, I got to fight fire with fire. He fought fire with fire. Stanionis fought fire with Butayev. And, you know, that was a fight that looked like it was about to end in stoppage at some point, how close range and how aggressively those two were. So even with the 2-year layoff, I think Stanionis is going to find a way. He's going to find his groove, and he's going to get it done. I think he wins by decision, possible late stoppage, but I think it goes the full 12. I think Maestro is going to be on the back foot. Stanionis is going to bring the pressure, and I just think Stanionis will be a lot busier. And with Maestro being dropped by Fox with a counter right, I think he's going to be a little bit hesitant, or he might come in and let his hands go. But either way, I think there's more ways for Stanionis to win this fight than there is for Maestro to win this fight. At some point, you're going to play fire with fire. And I'm not sure how strong Maestro's chin is, but we've seen Stanionis has a great chin, and we've seen his strength. So obviously anything can happen, of course, but I think Stanionis finds a way to get it done. I think he wins a decision victory. So that's my opinion. I would love to know your thoughts, your opinions. Let me know in the comment section below. If you are enjoying the video, enjoying the content, getting something from it, then I hope that you consider subscribing to the channel. If you know someone that likes boxing, likes to talk life, then definitely put this channel on their radar. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video, this time do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.